It's very confusing. I should really get a primer on this before we start the show so I don't insult these people.
On the air.
On the spot.
I think that's more interesting.
Patrickle Frankenstink. Hey, thanks for that. Cavs are off tonight.
Patrickle, yeah.
They'll play tomorrow night in Oklahoma City against the aptly named Oklahoma City Thunder. And then hopefully they win. Hey, we were talking about Cedar Point and Six Flags merging, and it was before that actually happened. And then it did happen. And now everybody's worried that something bad is going to happen to Cedar Point. People are writing op-eds. Corporate mergers happen all the time. And it was probably only a matter of time, given the inconsistencies and redundancies in the park biz. We were just talking about Disney before. No one's immune to it. Now, they won't be headquartered in Sandusky anymore. I don't know what kind of a situation that Cedar Fair HQ was. The whole shebang is going to be headquartered now in Charlotte.
Great. I'm sure they have...
I'm sensing some sarcasm.
I'm sure they have great Northeast Ohio ideas in mind.
Yeah, but you don't need what does that even mean? Like if they weren't headquartered in Sandusky, you'd never know from walking around the park. Well, what are you worried about?
I'm not. It makes no difference in my life.
But you said I'm sure they have some great Northeast Ohio ideas. I don't know what that means.
There was a charm in Cedar Point being a local business. It was the only amusement park I knew that was from Northeast Ohio, and people internationally would travel there. As a kid, we would go on trips there. With field trips there, and you would see all the buses from different parts of the country.
Yeah, but those people weren't coming
international students.
Those people weren't coming to visit the headquarters. No. They were coming to visit the park.
But
so who cares where the headquarters are?
Charlotte is not going to have Northeast Ohio. They're not going to have the charm of.
Have you ever been to Charlotte?
What? They're not going to have
Charlotte's
Ohio's
a fantastic city.
They're not just going to have.
Wait. Do you think they don't want Cedar Point to do well?
I think is a way to sabotage, sure.
Why would they want to do that?
It's a huge moneymaker.
It's the same thing with Geauga Lake. They may think they're doing well, and they're not. Six Flags bought Geauga Lake, correct?
I don't know.
Six Flags bought Geauga Lake, but then Cedar Fair bought it back, bought it from the Six Flags, and it went under after that.
Okay. Well, I just think there is a charm in having...
But I think that was also just one of those things where there was two amusement parks too close together, and Cedar Point just had too big of a head start for Geauga Lake to survive.
I mean,
which one would you rather go to?
Cedar Point.
Right, because people would travel all over the world to Cedar Point. No, people aren't traveling from Summit County to go to Geauga Lake.
They have better rides, though, at Cedar Point.
Yeah, that's the point.
But what does that have to do with it being based here?
The charm.
The charm.
There is a charm in that, and putting it in some big corporate headquarters.
Do you know what charm means?
Apparently not.
No, I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying I think that's psychosomatic more than anything else.
Again,
I think that means more to people in Ohio that it was headquartered here.
But it meant something that it was locally owned.
I agree with that.
And it would just...
So are you not going to support it now?
But it wasn't locally owned. Just because the headquarters were here, it wasn't locally owned.
It was.
It was a big
John Cedar and Bobby Point.
They had tons of amusement parks. I mean, that's why they said this is a merger of equals.
Okay.
I mean, I was joking, but apparently Poundcake is he's personifying what all these other people are complaining about. I thought that it was silly that people were getting worried, but
I've had people that don't even live anywhere. They live in New York and Maine and all these, and they're like, "Oh no!" Like they're like posting about it, and I get it, because once it becomes super corporate, like it had the small town feel. It was in Sandusky. It's not.
But it is
it's not nothing but Cedar Point.
It's not a mom and pop amusement park.
It's a billion-dollar corporation.
It's owned by a corporation.
Well, now they're letting everyone know that they're not.
What did you think that everyone knew Cedar Fair it wasn't a mom and pop company. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't know how big of a footprint their HQ actually was. It was probably an office in the park.
Probably.
It's not like they had I don't know Sandusky like the back of my hand, but I've never heard anybody talk about the Cedar Fair executive suite compound or anything like that. It's probably somebody had an office in the park. A journalist who covers the industry for Theme Park Insider said that the new company should tread lightly before messing with Cedar Point's brand or fan base. He's talking about people like Cody.
Yeah, because that is their brand. It's a staple here. It just is. So it doesn't matter if it's locally owned or not. It's a staple for people. The people who live around here, they're okay with something as big as Cedar Point being around here because it gives a lot to the community. A lot of people work there. A lot of people's first memory, their first job.
But they're still going to be working there. They're not tearing it down.
But they're not going to have the same local interest out of Charlotte, is what I'm saying.
Okay, but there
You
is
think
a
that they
lot
had-
of local interest. Half the kids who work there from out of the country.
Not
Not
only
all
that,
of
but
them.
companies' headquarters.
Yeah, they
Companies
said
pla-
half.
Companies place their headquarters based on things like tax abatements and things like that.
But they
It's
have
not
way
because
more
they're like,
parks now.
we've really got to be in Northeast Ohio. Like a company doesn't care where its headquarters are.
But it's not just moving headquarters. They own more parks now, so it's not going to be Cedar Point might be an afterthought. They're like, oh, we could give this to instead of when a new ride came out at Cedar Point, everyone was like, oh, this is great. This is going to be, monumental. It's going to be, the biggest, baddest thing ever because Cedar Point was their bread and butter. Now that they have 12 other parks, they're like, Cedar Point got a new ride last year. We're not going to do another ride.
Do you think that Cedar Point was Cedar Fair's only park?
I'm not
They
saying
already
it was,
had
but
multiple parks.
I'm not saying it was their only park, but Cedar Point was their bread and butter. I think Cedar Point was probably one of the best, if not the best.
Right, but that's why they want
That's
to
why it was an
continue that
attractive
way.
merger.
Yeah, they're not
They're not stripping it for
they're not going
parts.
to afterthought it and be like,
Yes, they will.
no, why would
They
they?
will afterthought it because just what you said, Bill, the legacy and the fan base is good enough to coast off of for at least a decade. They don't have to do anything to it. People will still come because it's the only
That's
thing
what
here.
corporations are thinking about. They're like, well, we'll coast for a
They
decade.
will.
And
They
then
will
we'll go
coast.
from there.
They will
No,
coast.
they want
I'm
to
sure
make
the
profits.
I'm sure the investors
They'll
will be
make
fine with us
profits. People are still
coasting.
gonna go.
But you know how investors work, right? With a publicly traded
Yeah,
company.
I know how investors work. They'll cut half the workers and just get as many or as little as people.
Who's going to
there.
run the rides?
Those aren't
AI.
they're going to cut.
Oh, AI.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well.
well,
Alan
whatever.
Iverson.
Well, this guy who was writing for Theme Park Insider said nothing that the company could do would boost the value of the Six Flags brand more than adding it in front of the beloved Cedar Point name. But nothing that the new company could do would damage the Cedar Point brand more than slapping Six Flags in front of it. See, even though it's a merger and not a straight buyout, I think Cedar Point is still considered to be like the crown jewel of this thing. So
Well,
they're not. I don't think they're going to jack with it.
Cedar Point and Cedar Fair owned parks that had their own identity. They own Knott's Berry Farm.
Right.
They own Magic Mountain. And these all have their own branding, whereas Six Flags, it's Six Flags of whatever. And I think the one thing that I'm excited about, though, is Cedar Point going to get the old man dancing?
That was the highlight.
Uh-huh. The old guy dancing.
Because that's pretty cool.
That was creepy. I
That
don't
was the
even know that.
creepiest
Yeah.
ad campaign of all time.
2004, their primetime commercial
Just
for
excited.
Mr. Six is what they call it. They barely thought about the name.
Alan that worked so hard, there was just no time for play. But that all changed on this one particular day.
The Six Flags bus pulls up. Old decrepit guy walks out wearing spats. Everybody thinks he's
But he's
lost, of course.
Not actually
It's like
decrepit.
Swifty Lazar. So everybody, I guess their advertising was like, "Oh, let's fool everybody that an old man
Can dance.
can dance."
An old white man dancing? Pff, gotta go to that theme park.
Aren't even people getting married around here. Poundcake, if it makes you feel any better, the upper management of Cedar Fair are still the people that are going to be running this new company. So the president is still going to be the president of this new company. I'm curious what they're going to call it. What's the new company called?
Cedar Flags.
Not Six Fair?
6 points.
It's 6 points.
6 points.
Mm-hmm. So, boy, figured I would touch on that and move on, but Poundcake is all these people. He's in bed with all these people who think it's a travesty. For some reason, I don't understand it.
Because
I mean, when Six Flags took over Great America, which was the biggest Chicago theme park, when Six Flags took it over, nothing changed. You just saw more Tasmanian devil mascots walking around, and but nothing changed. It wasn't people like, boy, this was great before Six Flags came in. Maybe they had a different corn dog recipe. Maybe it'll get better. Ever think about that?
Yeah, what if it improves the gay population in Sandusky and the Crowbar becomes a proper gay bar like you always wanted?
That's
There
it, Bill.
you
You
go.
sold me. You sold me. You got me.
You knew the way.
Hell frozeth over first.
Frozeth over. Yeah. Well, it's something to think about. They already got the music for Pride Day, don't they? That yeah, the music from the We Like to Party. Wasn't that who it was? The Benga Boys?
Coming.
Wasn't that who it was?
And everybody's running.
Oh, we like to party. Oh boy. It's when the Swedes were really taking over pop back in the day.
They tried.
They certainly did. We fought them back. There is a one of these strip mall MAGA preachers who thinks that Taylor Swift is bringing Satan with her wherever she goes.
What's up with this whole thing now at the Kansas City Chiefs that everybody's celebrating some lady, some girl? That if you look at her concerts, man, she does satanic rituals and witchcraft. Why would you want to put that stuff in your home? You talk about blinding yourself again. And then she just happens to be dating Mr. Pfizer, the football player. I mean, you don't think that there's a connection somewhere?
What?
I don't know.
Did you get the vaccine?
What?
Something?
Who are the people co-signing there in the audience? By the she's satanic
Like
Because
Taylor Swift.
Travis Kelce's doing the Pfizer commercials for the...
Yeah, that I get. They
Latest
call him.
round,
Yeah, they
yeah.
think it's derogatory. They call him Mr. Pfizer.
And he's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Checks are good.
Right. All these dopes who think that that's like a knock on him or something. But I don't understand what are the satanic rituals she's doing on stage?
I don't know. Watch her stupid show.
Wow.
Cody.
Tell you what, between you and Bridget Linton. Anywho, okay, well, there you go.
Hey, no, I have to defend her.
What? She's not even here to defend herself. Okay.
Whoa, hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, what's going on?
I heard,
Did you vote?
I did vote. I sure did.
How'd you vote?
What'd you vote? What were the issues down in hell?
You know how the same as up there in Ohio.
Well, they're trying to make abortion illegal in hell?
Yeah,
For Cedar Point to
that's
merge.
right. I had a hand in the Cedar Point thing, that's true. But let me tell you, Poundcake is it?
Yes.
Nothing will change.
I don't believe you. You're a deceiver.
Of course I'm lying. It'll all change. There's going to be a massive storm that's going to destroy the whole place. How you feel about that?
Breaks my heart.
Yeah, I figured it might. Anywho, listen, could you guys tell that preacher to please shut up? Because he's blowing up my whole spot. I've had Taylor Swift doing my bidding for the last 18 months, and this guy is going to ruin it.
Wait, did she sell her soul to you?
Nothing like that. No, I sold my soul to her.
Ah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, how do you think I got
tickets.
hooked up with her? I couldn't get tickets, no. I said, after all that soul selling. I mean, first of all, souls are made up. But she didn't know that. She's just a girl. She's just a little lady. You heard that guy. Little lady. But he's going to ruin the whole thing for me because she's out there doing my bidding. And that football player, don't get me started on that guy.
Oh, Mr. Pfizer.
Mr. Pfizer. Yeah.
Wasn't Mr. Pfizer in one of the Rudolph movies?
Mr. Heat Pfizer is
Yeah.
what you're thinking of. Yep.
That's you, right?
Mr. Heat Pfizer. Me?
Aren't you Mr. Heat Pfizer?
No.
I'm Mr. Heat Pfizer.
I'm
That's your
Mr.
theme song.
101.
Yeah.
No, because it's way hotter than 101 down here.
Oh.
It's
What?
like 451,
Wow.
if you catch my drift. Hey, tell that guy to shut up, will you? Because he's ruining my thing.
Ooh.
Pfizer?
That preacher.
Oh, the preacher. Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't know him, so it's hard
Are you
to.
sure?
Yeah.
We'll make a
Okay,
mean
well.
Instagram post.
All right. Well, anyway. Okay. I think he might have ruined. I think he might have ruined this bit too. So tell him.
This bit's been ruined. Come on.
Come on.
You want a Mozgov call?
Shut up. Bill, is it?
Yeah.
Shut up, Bill.
You shut up, devil.
That's fine. I'm not. Then you know what? We're done. Fine. I'm
Fine,
not.
yeah,
I'm not
right.
getting in touch with you guys anymore.
Good.
All right. Bye.
All right, I'll see you when I'm dead. Punk ass bitch.
Who said that? What?
I did.
What? Who?
Yeah, I called you a punk ass bitch, Satan. I'm always the one defending you on here, and then you come at me with that energy. Me and Poundcake are always standing up saying
Don't you
the
put me in
devil.
there. No.
But Poundcake and I are always like, the devil is our friend,
You go
and
to
we
hell
love
all by
him.
yourself.
I openly rebuke you, so.
No, Poundcake's always like, get behind me, Satan.
Get me
I'll
behind
keep you safe.
No, that's not what I say.
You
Behind
say
him
that
for
all the
another
time.
reason.
That's not what it is.
But now it's over. Done with you, Satan.
It doesn't sound like you guys can make up your minds. There's part of it's rebuking, and then part of it's co-signing,
I
and
have
part of it's...
never co-signed the devil.
I don't know why. Seems like he got a good head on his
I mean, we
shoulders.
had a
Just
bit
in
of a
case.
falling out right now. I think
It seems
we'll
like he's
mend
got a
it.
good head on his
I
shoulders.
think we just got a
don't
little
know
fired up, and
I think
it'll be
you're
all right.
Things got heated.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Don't worry, Poundcake. We'll be friends with the devil again.
No, we won't. You can't.
Poundcake has enough
mess with that.
imaginary friends.
Poundcake, just say,
No, don't say it, Cody. Because if you die on the way
I
home,
love the devil.
God will remember it.
I'm never saying that.
Don't say it.
Ever.
Why?
No, I'm not saying
Why
that.
don't you say I love the Three Little Pigs?
That's different.
It's got the same weight.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, okay.
Just say I love the
Your mother's in here with his cash. Would you like to leave a message? I see that she gets it.
If that's true, then you must know my mother's maiden name. What is it?
Listen, without the devil, there wouldn't be sin, and without sin,
You wouldn't be gay.
then Jesus wouldn't have anything to die for. So, wouldn't that
nice
make it
balance.
pretty important to have the devil there? Therefore, if you love Jesus, you also got to love the devil.
You have to love him.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't.
Jesus loves everyone. He
Yeah,
tells us to
I
love
thought
everyone.
you were supposed to love your enemy as your neighbor.
It's not the quote.
I'm sorry, what's the quote?
Love your enemy
you're
as your
supposed to-
neighbor.
Isn't it? Love
I
your
think so.
neighbor
Love thy
as
neighbor.
yourself?
Love thy neighbor.
Love
and
your
the
enemies.
devil.
Never love yourself. That's bad.
Yeah.
You go to-
You can love yourself, just don't touch yourself.
You burn for that.
Love your neighbor as yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love your.
But
No.
aren't you also supposed to love your enemies?
You're supposed to like turn the other cheek so they
Yeah.
can
You
give
cheat.
So he can look at
cheek,
your cheeks.
Turn
check out
your
your-
cheek to your neighbor
No,
as he is
to-
your enemy. For,
Anyway.
Yeah. No,
Get
that's
thee
it.
behind me, Satan, so I could turn.
so
the
you
other
can
cheek.
clap them cheeks.
Yes.
He wants-
Love your enemies. That's what it says.
Yeah,
you
love
said
your
love
enemies.
your neighbor as if they were your enemy.
Look at
Oh,
Alan and
I
I.
screwed that up.
You messed it up.
But
But you get the
you're
gist.
still supposed to love your enemies. So Alan and I love the devil.
Hate the sin, not the sinner.
Oh, please.
That's the one you're
what
thinking
a
of.
dodge that
That's
right,
the one
and
you're
we're not.
thinking of.
We're
Hate
not.
the sin,
we're
love
loving
the
the
sinner.
sinner.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. I mean, is
How
there
about
anyone
love
that's
the
better?
sin? How about love the sin, love the sinner?
I mean, that's
No, no,
even
no,
more
no.
love.
Take
No,
a person,
no,
take
no,
a
no.
person in their entirety rather than trying to make them something they're not.
No, because they're wrong.
How about that?
Amen, Cody.
They live in wrong.
Amen.
This guy
Preach.
living wrong. Well, seems to have worked out great for you. I got to take a break. If you want to send a text for something, 35192, and we'll be back. $1,000 on the